Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I was so afraid somebody was going to walk in during that extended close there. So
Exactly.
I appreciate your admonition. I want to first thank the committee staff for working with my office on this bill. There was a lot of dialogue between interested parties and a lot of information was shared. I really appreciate the committee's time. This bill simply transitions California to a more sustainable outdoor recreation by requiring small propane cylinders sold in the state to be usable or refillable starting on January 1st, 2018. Right now, both single-use and refillable are available on the market throughout the state, and the infrastructure's on the rise, and that's why this bill has a three-year implementation delay to allow the rest of the market to come into play when this happens. The analysis suggests a longer timeline for implementation. Nobody's approached us with any specific change, but we would be happy to talk about it and consider it. The fact that is these canisters are a burden on our local park systems, beaches, and material recovery facilities. A 2021 report from a statewide commission on recycling markets and curbside recycling, which was created by the legislature and the governor, really recommended to the legislature moving away from single-use 1-pound propane cylinders because they're a threat to human and environmental health. There's a reason that cities, counties, and rural counties support this bill, because it is those governments and the taxpayers that support them that are the people that have to support the disposal of these right now. And we have a clear problem. I have two pictures here, and the one on the right is because Yosemite National Park has to pay $75,000 a year to have the cylinders they collect disposed of and emptied off-site. They have to pay $75,000 a year to do that. And if we have a system that requires refillable or recycling, we no longer have local governments across the state left with that responsibility. And this has been difficult. The analysis says this bill may look familiar. It's because this committee and the legislature passed this bill, authored by Senator Wajkowski. And the governor said he was really interested in extended producer responsibility, and yet that presented a problem. We didn't have language because we had everybody at the table, and the bill got stopped because we didn't have language because we were talking to everybody at the table. And then when we dropped language in, appropriations didn't move it. Now we don't have clear money. This is the way to address this problem and move the bill. And there has been sort of a whack-a-mole with the opposition. I mentioned, oh, we want language, and then when you get language you don't like it, come to the table, but people don't really, they hold back at the table. There's even an argument that there's not a system in place yet, and yet we're given 3 years and open to more. That argument is not valid. This is the problem. These are left across our parks and beach, and the taxpayers pay for them. And it's up to us to come up with a solution that is extended producer responsibility that just takes these off the playgrounds, the parks, the beaches across. And as somebody that has a disproportionate amount of parks and beaches, you see trash cans with these in them. And when the workers have to do this, the workers are sometimes at risk with what is left in the canister. That's another reason municipalities don't support this. So the current system isn't working, and the chair and I both have bills that address the issue in general, and they are not inconsistent, and it's clear that they would be allowed to move forward without inconsistency. I have two witnesses here, and I have a fill-in because John Kennedy was supposed to be one. He is still here. He has to leave at 12:45, and so I was worried that he was testifying on everybody else's bill but was not going to get to mine. And so we have Priscilla Caros on behalf of the California Product Stewardship Council, John Kennedy on behalf of the rural counties. I respectfully ask for an aye vote, and John should probably go first in case he has to leave.
We've been hearing a lot from you today, John.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you. Happy to be here today in support of this bill. It's a concept I think a lot of us are really excited about. RCRC, we have 40 counties. Most of those counties have permanent HHW facilities. As you mentioned, we're host to many parks and recreational opportunities, so we see a lot of these cylinders coming in, and we're going to have to manage them. They're very expensive for local governments to manage and very difficult for us to determine whether they're empty, which means that we then have to manage them as hazardous wastes. We try to keep our local HHW drop-off programs free for residential customers because if we charge money for them, people are just going to dump them illegally, and then we're going to have to manage that illegal disposal stream and incur the costs associated with that. In terms of costs, our cost of management often exceed the costs for the consumer to buy these products in the marketplace. I had our HHW consultant, Larry Sweetser, look this morning. He found two quotes for managing these small cylinders. One was $15 per cylinder, the other was $30 per cylinder. Those costs will vary wildly between jurisdictions, how far someone has to travel, the number of materials you have to handle at a given time. These costs are ultimately borne by all of our taxpayers, by our local governments. We have limited resources as local governments, so the amount of money we spend on HHW management is less money that we can spend on safety, on mental health programs, things like that. So we think SB 1280 is the right approach. It will significantly reduce costs for local governments because we're going to have less products in the waste stream that we have to manage. But I think just as importantly, a very small product redesign here for the manufacturers will result in major cost reductions for consumers and for local governments across the board. So for these reasons, we're very excited to be here in support of SB 1280 and look forward to moving, working with you as this bill moves forward.
Thank you. Thanks, John.
Good afternoon, Chair members. Priscilla Quiros here on behalf of the California Product Stewardship Council. Just want to first thank Senator Laird for his and his staff for his continued work for the past year on this issue. Non-refillable 1-pound propane cylinders pose significant challenges. As John stated, they are very expensive to manage properly and are dangerous due to their flammable content. As the Senator noted and the analysis noted, we did run this bill similar in 2022 with Senator Wachowski that this legislature passed, but it was vetoed. And shortly after the bill was vetoed, we took that understanding and we worked with Senator Laird and the opposition on a California-based model EPR program. However, the opposition continued to stall and pose challenges throughout the process. For perspective, we couldn't even get past the definition section of the bill. Interestingly, the opposition now appears to support the chair's HHW EPR measure. While we remain suspicious of the timing, we recognize that both of these bills, we believe, work hand in hand. One removes the problematic dangerous products from the waste stream, and the other is a solution to the end of life for replacement. The opponents question the infrastructure to refill and exchange these cylinders. The availability for the refillable 1-pound propane cylinder is rapidly expanding and growing. We're seeing a network of retailers providing options to purchase, refill, exchange these cylinders. Over the past 4 years, we've seen a number of locations, a number of national retailers, Ace Hardware, True Value Hardware, Home Depot, and REI have this model and have these available refillable 1-pound propane cylinders. And we've also seen that the exchange network has seen a 50% growth in the last 2 years, and this is just nationwide. And opponents question the safety to refill. All reported injuries and fatalities have been linked to non-refillable cylinders. These cylinders are not engineered to be reused, which contracts with the rising consumer demand for refillable options. Now-refillable cylinders are poorly built and are not suitable for refilling. And they lack the bleeder valve, an essential safety feature that allows consumers to refill if that is, their prerogative. But basically, we're in strong support of this bill. We hope that the committee can consider this, and we hope to continue working with the senator on this measure.
Thank you.
And I have Doug Cobalt, Executive Director of California Product Stewardship Council, to provide any technical assistance.
Thank you. Okay. Good to see you, Doug. All right, so let's hear anyone else who wants to add on in support.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Jason, I'm infrequently too tall for things. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Jason Schmelter here on behalf of the California chapters of SWANA, Alameda County Stop Waste, and Western Placer Waste Management Authority in strong support. Thank you.
Jason. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Courtney Scott with Zero Waste Sonoma in support.
Hi, I'm Heidi Sanborn, the Executive Director of the National Stewardship Action Council, in strong support. This is source reduction first, and that's highest on the waste hierarchy passed by this legislature. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Michael Caprio with Republic Services here in support.
Chris Arenas from Californians Against Waste here in support.
Emily Pappas on behalf of Michelle Rubikava, who had to step out on behalf of her client, Waste Management, in support.
Melissa Sparks-Kranz with the League of California Cities in support.
Josh Simpson with Little Camper Propane in strong support.
Thank you. Okay. Mike, why don't you come on up and give us your perspective. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Mike Robeson here. Our firm represents Worthington Enterprises, which is the manufacturer of all sizes of pressurized refillable and non-refillable cylinders, including the non-refillable product that's the subject of that would be banned by this bill. Bill bans a product that consumers like. It's a product that's safe, it's safe to use, and unlike the marine flares that you heard earlier, it has plenty of disposal options and safe disposal options. This bill's, you know, if we're going to be cynical about my approach to this, is, you know, the cynicism is that, you know, this bill's using the legislature to favor a product that's on the market now. It's a competitive product on the market, and consumers haven't been buying it, since 2015. It's just not. I mean, it could have doubled, but if you're doubling from, you know, this much and you're doubling it to just that much, that's not doubling a lot. But in any case, it's an attempt to create a market for a product that consumers haven't been buying. So, like all household hazardous waste, this product has some disposal challenges and costs, and those have been documented. These pictures are interesting because what they show is that you can collect this product safely. You can collect it and dispose of it and recycle it, and it just costs some money. And Worthington's willing to pay for that. Worthington supports EPR, and we supported EPR last year with the Laird bill, and you know, there were some challenges with some language in the bill that never got resolved. The bill got held in the ropes. It would have been nice to resolve those problems, those issues. I think they were resolvable, but because of that, you know, we support EPR and rather than a ban, and that's why we are supporting Senator Allen's bill, which you'll hear later. It's a good approach. It's the right approach. It actually addresses the governor's veto, and we have experience. Worthington has experience in other states. They're working in other states. They've worked in Connecticut on a law and an implementation of that law. They've worked throughout Canada on EPR specifically for these cylinders, and so they have the experience to support and help create an EPR program for this product. And I want to just really quickly point out a couple of things that I think need to be said. Is that I said this bill is going to, you know, attempts to create a market for a product that people haven't been buying. So, you know, you have a 1 pound disposable cylinder and a 1 pound refillable cylinder. What this bill is not recognizing, which Senator Allen's bill does recognize, is that there's a whole other class of products out there that consumers can buy. So if you ban the Coleman cylinder with this bill, if you ban it, consumers aren't going to just automatically go and gravitate to a refillable product that costs 3 times as much. They're going to go to an isobutane or butane cylinder. There's other products out there, Jetboil and other things are used in camping, and those products, they exist in the marketplace. They're not being banned by this bill. and they're just going to proliferate. So you can just swap out all that and put jet boil in there instead of Coleman, and you're just going to have the same problem. That's why Senator Allen's bill is the right approach, and why this bill should just be held in this committee, and we should move forward and do a bill, pass SB 1143, get it refined, get it workable, and then we'd have an answer. So anyhow, thank you for your time, and appreciate you letting me testify.
Thank you. Other folks want to raise concerns about the bill or opposition? Yeah.
Sarah Polomu here in respectful opposition. I'm with California Retailers Association.
Okay. Great. Items before the committee. Thoughts, comments, Senator Mentor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Avid camper here. All the time. I'm this year looking at finding my teardrop trailer as I go all the time. I think I've used more than this my whole entire lifetime. I will continue to have to purchase a lot because even if I bring one refillable one, I'm still going to have to bring a lot because I quickly go through them throughout my camping trip. So I'm struggling to find out how this is going to ease the problem because I'm still, as a consumer, going to have to buy a lot of these, whether they're refillable or not. So at the end, I'm still going to have my 10 with my friends that I'm going to have to put somewhere. I do agree that Senator Allen's bill is the first step. That is what the veto message asked for, to create a process of how we're going to get to a better way to dispose of these. And I think this is in line with my mentality for any of these EQ bills, that I'm here for the implementation part of it, rather than the let's get ahead of something without having a plan. Senator, with that in mind, I don't think I can go up on this bill.
Thank you. All right. Invite Mr. Vice Chair.
Who enforces it, Senator? Who? Is there an enforcement arm?
Well, Cal Recycle.
Recycle.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't see an enforcement in the bill.
Struck from the bill.
So I'm being told by staff that, I didn't actually.
Well, wait. There's an existing code section that this bill doesn't change or this bill doesn't address that speaks to that.
The DTSC.
Yeah, it's under
Doug, technical assistance?
Yeah, my understanding is Cal Recycle.
Yes, it's
Oh, okay.
It'd be covered by Cal Recycle.
Further questions?
I'm asking. It was struck. That's why I asked.
But it's under Cal Recycle's
Yes.
authorities, so it would be.
Under Cal Recycle's authority.
This is the Public Resources Code.
Yeah.
That's where Cal Recycle is.
Okay, all right. Within Cal Recycle's Division of Enforcement is what we're understanding.
So then this bill is fiscal then?
Yeah, yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Is it tax
Yes.
fiscal?
Yes.
Yes.
So it will need a 27 vote to get out of the,
Well, that'd be a tax.
No, it's not a tax.
It's not.
A tax.
the fee. What?
No. It's fiscal because of whether there might be any cost of enforcement or implementation.
Yeah. Sorry? Yeah, this has been a long and winding road, obviously. There was a ban that was vetoed, Senator Wachowski put forward. This is substantially similar. What's the difference between, what's the difference in play between this and the Wachowski bill?
I think that the Wachowski bill was an actual ban.
It is.
What this does is allows a phase-in of refillable. And if I can use an analogy, when I was in the assembly, I unfortunately had to do the bills about the implementation of more efficient toilets. And I tried a bill to make it regulatory and put it in the code. And the governor at the time, Governor Schwarzenegger, vetoed it. So then I went to the market and I gave the market a number of years to phase it in by percentages, and all the toilet companies came on board, the governor came on board, and that was the way that we proceeded. And that's what this does. I mean, this is the plan. There is a plan here, and the plan is that you implement this over time in a way that there's places in the market now, and this allows people to have a number of years, and we can still talk about how many that is, to phase it in and do it.
Right. Do you see, I mean, I really like, well, where you were trying to go last year with SB 560, I mean, the EPR, we've all been talking about it. Obviously, you weren't able to get eye to eye on that. Is there a strong possibility that's where this moves?
I don't think so, mostly because that would now cost a bunch of money in a way that we might have been able to do it the last 2 years. And I think this is very insignificant in terms of costs.
Yeah.
And this puts it on the market.
But you can, I mean, SB 54, for example, is not causing a net cost to the state, right? I mean, it's ultimately paid for.
I will argue at the Appropriations Committee that the cost is negligible in this.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, it will be tagged to have that discussion. And the real thing is it's interesting in the opposition because, oh, yes, the difference is you pay. Well, if Yosemite's paying $75,000 and they're not even one of 58 counties or 400 cities or all the state parks on the beach, there's a tremendous cost that is being paid now that would not be paid if that happened.
Right. Okay. We'll entertain a motion when appropriate, because I don't know that we have anyone supportive besides me here, so let's hope that folks come back, but with that, we'll let you get the opportunity to close.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the robust discussion, and I have to say that there was no formal support last year, and I was not feeling the support at any time, so it's very interesting that that was reflected to the committee. And
well, support was from us.
Oh, I know, but he was speaking for himself, not for you.
I testified in support last year.
Hey, I'm closing here. No, the chair won't do that, but I will. And so I think that this is the solution. This really, in a time of fiscal emergency, shifts the cost and the safety issues from public governments, from the taxpayers to the market, and allows a phase-in of the market over time in a way that will actually work. And it's if you have to go buy cylinders, you're going to have to buy the same amount of recyclable ones or refillable ones as you are non. It just means it will be more environmentally sound. We will not be cleaning them off our beaches, and we will not be having the safety hazards from public workers having to clean these when they collect them, and they do that. This is the right direction, both environmentally, fiscally, and the right direction for business in terms of allowing business to adjust to what we're doing. And when it was said, that the market isn't working, look at what we did on tailpipe emission standards. One of the reasons people didn't do it is efficient cars weren't widely available. You can go on and on and on in places where we have enacted in an environmental way to deal with environmental protection, and this does it. So I respectfully ask for an aye vote. Appreciate the robust discussion that we have had today.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Let's go to Senator Menjivar, who's going to present Senator Limon's SB 1266.